Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl新林無家with another video. Um, Today we're gonna do another review. I'm on a roll, so I can't help myself. And today we're gonna review the movie Get Out. I just saw it a couple of days ago, and I ended up watching the movie again with my mother. She looked bored at first. She kept dozing off and shit. But once the movie started to heat up, she kept looking at me in fear, making faces, turning her head. At the end, she was like, I gotta watch what I watch with you. I was surprised she knew that Redbone song. I even saw her singing. Plus, she was asking me about that scene of Rose's brother. Forgive me if I don't remember his name. He was playing a tune on a ukulele, and she recognized. She was like, Zen, is that a slave song? It did sound like that. If it is, leave a comment below, cause she was wondering if it was or not. But anyway, let's get on with the review. Andre is walking down a suburb street. He's excuse me, he's in the suburb talking to someone on the phone. A white car shows up. It slowly just it didn't look so obvious at first. When you see it, it's like you thought it was just going by. Just a car on the street. But then again, what time was it at that night that he was up there walking? Through a neighborhood that he wasn't familiar with. I mean, that's something. Again, black people. I mean, or people in general shouldn't do. Walking in unfamiliar places by themselves like that. And yeah, the white car shows up. It's slowly driving. He was on the phone talking to somebody, and he was like, you got me out here, and you know, in the middle of nowhere. And then with this scene of the car, it reminded me of the fact that whites used to sneak up behind black people and still do to this day, because I believe that with the racial tension and all the murders going on, I see it as white people want to be the ones running up behind you and you being scared. You know, that's how I see it. Which is what happened with Andre. He started getting scared. But did you notice that the street kind of reminds you of Elm Street? I mean, I know I'm not the only one. I was just looking at it. It also reminded me of It Follows. I had already did a review on that, but I might turn around and make it into a video, because I just want to get my YouTube channel going. But yeah, it really did remind me of Elm Street. Yeah. Another interpretation of this is that it maps out how Europeans kidnapped Africans, bound them, dragged them, beat them, brainwashed them with their ideologies and religion, and forced them into being slaves. Because the guy gets out of the car with a helmet on, and he puts Andre into a chokehold, and we later found out that Andre was actually looking for Rose's house. Because she lured him out here, and the brother was the kidnapper, which led up to the setup. Yeah, the helmet on his head could be interpreted as the Ku Klux Klan, the White Knights, said to be the most dangerous of the Klan. So yeah, I wanted to bring up how someone on LSA brought up this particular scene being a nod to Trayvon Martin. When you think about it, Trayvon was on the phone with a friend while he was being stalked by George Zimmerman in the car. Trayvon looked, and at first, he didn't make no big deal at first. And once he realized what was going on, it was too late. Very, very sad story, you know. And that's what got me into making videos, years ago on the Zozo Files channel. That what happened with Trayvon Martin, because I was thinking about my nephew, because in this movie, I think he's seen this movie, but I one day, if I ever talk to him again, I'm gonna ask him what does he think about this movie, because all he hangs out with is white people. Hell, his daughter is part white. She's not half white because his girlfriend, she's biracial, but the child, I mean, I love my niece. And you guys know I love her because I got her all over my Instagram. I love the kid. I love her. But I wonder what he thinks about this movie and how he feels about the idea, seeing himself, being around nothing but white people. Because that's like I said, that triggered me to make videos because I was thinking about him because my mom adopted him from my sister. He'd been living here all his life, and I've always looked out for him. And now it seemed like he got around a lot of white people, and he he seemed to I don't know. And it's the same thing with his brother. His brother is like a year older than me, and he got caught up several times being around nothing but white people. Like one time, he got into it with a white boy on a camping trip, and he gonna do something stupid like put his nuts on the boy's mouth. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, everybody, there's this, everybody thinks black men are effeminate, but why the hell would you do? Why would you do that? He got in trouble, and then he got caught up, and he lived in the most racist part of Louisiana. I'm not gonna say what city it is. It's just, it's very segregated in that area, and he got caught up and he got beat up by a group of white boys. And to this day, we've never told his mom about it because I knew she would go hysterical. But it's just this movie here, I swear, it reminded me a lot about myself and my family. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but it just brought up a lot with me. I'm pretty sure it has with you guys too, but it just hit me hard personally because at one point I used to hang out with nothing but white people. But when I went to one of them's house, they treated me pretty well. It was nothing malicious behind it, but just, I wouldn't do it again, as an adult. So, yeah, not around these motherfuckers here because they're super racist. I'm gonna get into that later if I remember. If not, I might mention it on my blog. I'm dragging the video out, so let me continue on with the review. All right. Has anyone noticed that the music at the beginning, while Andre is being kidnapped, it was the same music that was used in the black horror film Tales from the Hood? The tale about the grandmother in the painting with the dolls. That part, that music was really creepy. Because when I first heard it, I was like, "Damn, that's Tales from the Hood right there." I don't think nobody else caught it but me. Tales from the Hood had a lot of symbolism in it itself. There was a tale about how a politician was murdered, and the black cop didn't have his back. At least he felt like he didn't have his back because he felt like the black cop was just going along to get along while he was being drugged and set up, and then he eventually got killed. And so he came back from the dead to kill everybody, but he got into the head of the black cop, and he said, "Why didn't you help me when I needed you?" It mirrors this film a lot too. I'm telling you, and I'm only getting started. Another tale in the Tales from the Hood was the waking of the black convict to the horrors of black on black crime. I love this movie. You guys should check it out. Oh, it's an oldie but goodie. Might be old to you guys, but I just said that because it's old to you guys. Y'all consider the '90s old, and I'm like, it wasn't even that long ago. But that's just y'all mentality, not mine. I love the '90s, and I loved all the films back then too, and the music, and the culture. But anyway, let's move it right along. After the beginning credits, the music of Redbone by what's his name, Childish Gambino and Donald Glover is playing. If you pay attention to the lyrics, "Stay woke," you'll understand why once you watch this film. Okay, so the movie was about I'm sorry, there was this piece of shit ass fucking email thing keeps popping up. It's just a lot of spam, so I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so it's about a guy named Chris. He's being visited by his white girlfriend Rose, and she tells him about a trip to go see her parents. And of course, she said that she didn't tell her parents that he was black, because she felt like it didn't matter. Even her name is symbolic. Roses are very pretty, vibrant, and they smell good. but they have thorns, and touching them will hurt you. Okay. So while on the road, Rose hits a deer. He goes to check on it and he stares at it. They call the police and the policeman asks him for his license. Rose defends him and tells him, "Fuck that." Now, with that kind of language, do you think a black woman would? Well, no, she wouldn't get away with talking to a police officer like that. But yeah, I think, but we all know that she did this shit because she was trying to. Because if he came up missing, she would be the number one suspect, you know, because she was with him at the time. But anyway, so they go to her parents' home and you see a tall black man out there raking the yard, who we later find out name was Walter, and he was watching them as they were going inside the house. So inside the home, the dad talks about how he hates deer. Another word for deer is buck. Buck was a word used to describe strong black males. The dad shows him around the house and goes outside. I know I'm missing some point, but like I'm gonna go all into it in this video. Trust me. There was this scene of them sitting at the table while one of the workers, Georgina, is pouring tea into their glasses. Chris knocking on the table, indicating his his bad nerves and his urge to smoke. Rose's dad takes notice to it and notices how his wife, mentions how his wife um would had hypnotized him to keep him from smoking. As Georgina is pouring the tea, you can see her zoning out with a look of sadness on her face. She was spilling the tea, warning Chris, because because hypnotism was what got them all in the mess in the first place. So that was her spilling the tea. You get it? So that night, Chris dreams about the deer Rose hit earlier. He felt guilty because we found out that his mother was killed by a hit and run and left to die. Chris goes outside to smoke. He sees Georgina playing with her hair in the window. Then Chris sees Walter sprinting towards him. I thought that scene was pretty wild. It really was. He goes back inside and the mother is sitting in the living room with no lights on. She's like, she was aware of him going outside smoking, but why the hell was she sitting in the fucking dark? I didn't get that. She tells him come sit down, and that was to lure him into the hypnotism phase. So he sits down and they start talking. She sounds very calm while she's talking to him, and she's stirring the teacup with a spoon over and over and over, and it starts to resound along with her talking. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I see the hypnotism scene as sleep paralysis. It's like you're aware of your surroundings, but you can't do anything. Reminds me of my racialized incident from last year at the Belle Baton Rouge Casino, when I was assaulted by an elderly white female. I felt like I was in a sunken place and couldn't do anything. Neither could nor did the blacks around me help me either, which kind of reminds me of Tales from the Hood, that with the dead politician. He wanted help from the black policeman, just like I wanted help from the black security ladies, and they were afraid, powerless, and it just that kind of ruined my trust in them. But I'm not gonna talk about it here. At least I'm gonna try not to talk about it. But I got a blog entry coming up in the next couple of days where I'm probably gonna go into what triggered my distrust of black people, especially black people down here, because they are brainwashed and they worship white people. So I'm not gonna talk about it here. So anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. That's why when it comes to elderly white women, I avoid them, don't talk to them, refuse to hold doors for them, and etc. Because they are really racist here. You see it in the eyes. They just look like, I don't. It's a look in their eyes, like when they look at it, it's just like they trying to figure you out or something. It's really weird, and I just like I say, I just stay away from them, and just if I could, just perform rituals on myself to keep that evil off of me. That they, that feel like that staring is doing something. It means something, you know, because they are the birthers to these young races out here that we have to deal with. Someone mentioned in a comment that the slave mistresses would use a teacup and spoon to round up the slaves. Also, with this scene, it reminded me of Candyman. When he first shows up, Helen appears hypnotized. Have you noticed when he's talking to her, she's like she can't move, she can barely talk, and she's like he was talking to her almost like in the same manner that Rose, the mother, was speaking to Chris during the hypnotism phase. Um, I'm trying to be careful since I'm sitting in front of a mirror. Anyway, strange thing is his character was a slave who fell in love with the slave master's daughter, which got him killed. By the way, I have the book on that movie because I love the movie. It was inspired by a tale by Clive Barker. You should go get the book. It's very very cheap because it came out in the 80s, so the pages are gonna be kind of brown, because I remember we had old books from back then. The pages were brown, still in good condition, but they was just they weren't white anymore. They was just brown. It's a short story, but it was really good. It tells you, it goes in a little deeper than what you see in the movie. So anyway, when Chris goes to talk to Walter the next morning, I believe that Walter was hinting what was going on. He hinted that Rose was one of a kind. What did he mean by that? And that he was going to get back to work and mind his own business. So, yeah, I won't give all the movie away, but I will talk about certain scenes that stood out to me. At the party, everyone was dressed in all black. I mean, it looked like a some eyes wide shut type of thing, very ritualistic, and it's just like it's like the colors that red, black, like even white, the skin, like what occultists would prefer, even their vehicles and their attire made them look like they were at a funeral, you know. The party guests kept stereotyping Chris, asking him if he was a golfer. They like Tiger Woods. Mind you, Tiger Woods is what, Cobbler Nation, whatever he said he was. They still see him as black. Um, is it better in bed with him? Another stereotype about the black man and his big penis. But then again, black men won't stop talking about his damn big penis and acting like that's all he got to fucking offer, and then wonder why he gets stereotyped. I mean, you gotta bring something else to the fucking table other than a damn big penis, but I digress. All kind of shit. They were saying all kind of shit to him. Talking about black is back in style. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, I guess I would prefer a black guy over you, sir. you know? And this is one of the main reasons why I try to avoid talking to white people here in Louisiana. They don't care what they say to you. I don't go I don't go beyond a hello, thank you, and bye. Or if I'm seeking help is the only time I will deal with them. It's just I just keep it on a strictly professional business type of relationship with them. Just nothing further than that. They are racist here, and I won't talk about it here on this channel. So anyway, once Chris sees another black person, black guy dressed in yellow, he goes up to meet him. If you notice, it's the same guy from the beginning, Andre, but instead he goes by the name of Logan. It's like as soon as he starts talking, and the Chris automatically picks up like, yeah, I don't think this guy, he's a totally different person, wearing 40s style clothing and speaking well mannered. Wow. So he spoke differently from how he spoke in the beginning. He was sounding more street in the beginning. So Chris goes back inside to see that his cell phone was unplugged. He peeks into Georgina's room to see her folding clothes and humming. Then Rose shows up and he talks to her about it. You know, he kind of pulls her to the side and says, come here, come here. Also insinuating that Georgina has a problem with them being together. Another damn stereotype. Because I'm one of them chicks, I don't give a fuck who you date as long as you ain't trying to throw it up in my damn face. Because usually down here it be the white women themselves up there gawking at me, staring all in my face like they want my attention. I don't care. I don't care who you fucking date or who you have children with. Just don't raise your children up to be racist, which is again we ain't gonna talk about it here. So yeah. So he gets on the phone to tell him that he's been hypnotized. He talked to his friend Rod. Was it his friend or was it his cousin? I'm not sure. Shit, I need to pay more attention. Sorry, you guys. I'm gonna say friend. He talks to his friend. And his friend, yeah, they're friends. Where did I get cousin from? I think I was reading a comment. His friend Rod warns him about hypnotism and talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, he went into intricate details about Dahmer's killings and stuff, but he was doing it to make a point about him. So he told him in the beginning, don't go into that house, but he didn't. He was hard headed. He went anyway. So since Chris couldn't handle all the details, he was saying they probably hypnotizing people to make them into sex slaves and shit. That's when he got off the phone. So once he got off, Georgina comes in to apologize. She couldn't understand what he was saying when he said snitch. She says she answers to no one because she was like tattletale. That tattletale sounds like some, it's an old phrase, tattletale. They don't really say that anymore. They say snitch. I ain't mean to snitch on you. So she was like, I don't answer to no one. You can see her jerking when he said that he was around all these white people. You can see her jerking like she was trying to say something, but it couldn't come out. Then she smiles and laughs. That reminded me of the Joker. How when the Joker, just would start laughing. Sometimes he'll have tears in his eyes, and then when he would use that laughing gas on people, how he would kill people, have that laughing gas, have them laughing to death. That's what that reminds me of. She said, no, 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 no. I later realized she is Rose's grandmother telling the real Georgina, no, you can't come out and you can't talk. It's eerie how he went upstairs and everyone at the party stops what they're doing to focus on what he was doing. I'm guessing the footsteps represent strength or the fact that even though they can't see you, they never take their eyes off you. He goes back outside and the Japanese guy asks him about the black experience. Chris insists on Logan, aka Andre, to answer the question. While Logan is talking, Chris attempts to take a picture of him and the flash goes off. You can see Logan's eyes filled with the flash, the light of the flash, and his nose begins to run. He comes toward Chris, telling him, get out. Get out. Get the fuck out of here. Chris took it as a threat when it was a warning. When Rose and Chris was talking about his experience, Rose kept brushing off. Every time he would talk to her, he would just brush it off. This reminds me of real life experiences with myself, talking about racism and whites getting angry and telling me it's nothing. Chris would back down, but in my instance, I never back down. Some of them will always try to remind you that they know you better than you know you. You can cry in front of them and it seems like, they don't feel it, like they don't care. At least in my case, I've had some that did care, but I couldn't really trust it. When you're so used to it, just, yeah. Just like recently when I was talking to a worker at this business I go to. Excuse me. I made sure to just say that I've been through some shit and not go into detail. Excuse me. I could tell by her expressionless face, something I've seen for many years from white people, that it didn't matter to her. Let me take a drink of water because I feel like my throat's getting very dry. All right. She made some assumptions about my situation, and I didn't bother to defend it. I don't. I feel like I don't want to give too much, give people too much information on me. Let them know that I'm vulnerable about them. I can never pronounce the vulnerable about. It's like when I say it sounds funny, vulnerable. I don't want them to see that in me because they're gonna start thinking I'm weak, and that I learned that from when I was a child, and how they would when they would see me cry or get emotional about something, they see that as a weakness in a black person when they act like that. So yeah, I just try not to. I mean, I don't have to act tough, but I like to stand my ground when I'm around them and let them know, you ain't gonna get in my head. You ain't gonna. I don't need you to, solve my problems unless it's something, monetarily wise, it's some monetarily benefit to it. I don't mind you offering your expertise or even your pockets. Like I said, I got to keep everything business related. I don't want to show weakness around them because when they see you acting weak, that gives them the opportunity to attack you. When you act vulnerable around them, here I go again. When you act weak around them, they take it as a weakness, and that's when they don't take you seriously when you act like that. When you have problems, they don't take you seriously. I'm gonna pause it right here because I gotta do something. Okay, you guys, I'm back. Um, yeah, just showing vulnerability around them makes them not take you seriously, and it opens you up to being attacked. That's exactly what happened to Chris' character. He opened himself up like that by allowing her to get in his head and manipulate him, and into opening up his, basically his soul was taken over, his body. It's just a lot to this movie. So anyway, when it comes to me, you can think whatever the fuck you want about me. Only I know me. Yeah. There was even a slave auction with the portrait of Chris besides Rose's dad. Chris ended up being sold to the blind artist who he was talking to earlier because he acted like he wasn't like the rest of them. But he was trying to gain his trust, like, calm down, you know, just don't think I'm like that. Shit like that. Yeah, I've been there. So anyway, there were a lot of occultic symbolisms with the white people at the party wearing black. Even the candles in the operation room, there were candles like like it was gonna be a ritual going on, which it was. And then the deer head reminded me of Satanists using, the goat's head. I didn't realize that it was Georgine. I'm jumping into another subject, but yeah, it's a lot of symbolism. Let me get to the next subject. I didn't realize it was Georgina who opened the closet door to expose Rose's past. Then again, it could have been Walter since we didn't see him at all during this time. Chris was able to have access to a small red box with photos of Rose from when she was a little girl to photos of her being with different types of black men, including Georgina. With Georgina, I am assuming she was a lesbian, and Rose managed to, play on that and to lure her in. It was a lot of Nazism going on as well, at the party, and having the Japanese girl, I said girl, excuse me, having the Japanese guy there really hints to World War II. I also think the Japanese gentleman symbolizes that despite non-black people of color being aware of racism, they are complacent with it, make excuses for it in order to be in the graces of whites. But I like this person's interpretation of the movie. No, Rose was not hypnotized. The whole point was to show how white women operate. Rose reminded me of the Kardashians. Befriend damaged black men for gain. Chris had no family, therefore was easier to manipulate, much like Kanye and Lamar. White women playing innocent, victim, the savior to the ingratiate to ingratiate themselves to black men. She was playing arts of seduction on Chris. Her arguing with the cop, creating a love triangle with Chris's friend, playing dumb, all are art of seduction techniques to create loyalty to Chris towards herself. Liberal whites are the most racist because they convince themselves that they aren't by voting for Obama and having black friends. It shows how nuanced racism is. Racism isn't just about hatred because Rose's family didn't hate blacks. They were obsessed with blacks, which explains how whites can marry black and still not respect us. They use psychological tricks to make you question yourself. The media and music does that to us today. It takes us to a sunken place where we forget who we are if we believe their lies. The cotton Chris sticks the cotton Chris sticks in his ears saves his life, the same cotton we were forced to pick for centuries. Rose's father said her grandfather almost, keyword you guys, and this is how it all started, almost got over losing to Jesse Owens. He stole that black man's body and practiced running in the night. It wasn't that the grandfather lost, but that he lost to a black man. Once it was revealed that Walter was the grandpa, it made more sense. A very interesting twist on Hitler and the whole master race thing he was on. I love that Jordan chose a dark-skinned African as the main character. Really drives home the point of how whites are obsessed with our pure blackness. They can never erase our blackness. The servants still remembered and tried to save Chris. The blind man who cannot see color is still racist as fuck. Yep. I like how one person pointed out Rose's attire was similar to Freddy Krueger. Freddy's main power was that he kept people in the subconscious by tormenting and killing them in their dreams. The longer you stayed in the mind dream state, the easier it was for him to catch and kill. Even her personality and her face was like Freddy's. I mean, look at her. Her being on the staircase didn't help either. I didn't think of it like that. I really didn't. This is me talking. I'm not reading all that was that part about the Freddy. That was me talking. So yeah, it's like I didn't think of it like that. And it does make sense because Freddy was very manipulative and made his victims believe that they were in the real realm when they weren't. Then again, the scene of Chris being sunk, being hypnotized and him going into a sunken place, when he fell through the bed. It does remind me of the first Nightmare on Elm Street when Johnny Depp was pulled through the bed. I like this person's viewpoint. I know I'll get grown for this, but to be honest, I've noticed that some blacks that are around whites for a long period of time, especially at work or in interracial relationships, act hypnotized. They forget who they are and where they come from. And sometimes you'll meet some like that. Sometimes you won't. I've met plenty of nice black men who were in interracial relationships. I don't, like I say, I don't have a problem with it. I think that they were some of the most nicest guys I've ever met. The only bad experience I had was with one who had a thing for Vietnamese chicks. I mean, he let me know straight up that he didn't like black women. And, I was trying to be his friend, and I should have just dismissed it. But I was young. I was like, what, 17, and he was like 18. It's just, I learned then just to stay away from those type of black men that think like that, but not all of them, because I don't think every black man who's in an interracial relationship has a problem with black women. That's just how I feel about it. Your experience might be different, but that's just mine. I'm able to get along with them, so whatever. And she was saying that they act crazy, just like how Logan was acting at the party when Chris approached him. Yeah, Anyway, I didn't really notice that when Georgina kept playing in her hair that it represented how some whites have this fascination with our hair. Not with mine because I have super kinky hair that I keep in an afro at times. But then again, this is Louisiana I'm talking about. But I kind of I thought Georgina playing with the hair, it could be because the fascination with the hair and her rubbing on her skin, because I'm getting compliments from some white women, especially recently, that they like my skin. Something I didn't really get in the past. I've always had nice brown skin, but I guess but I also have hair on my body, so when I shave, it kind of brings out my color more because that I feel like that hair was kind of high, and I'm not a werewolf or nothing. It's just that I feel better when I don't have hair on me, and it just brings out my if my nice flourishing brown skin. That's why I'm getting compliments now, but just like I said, it's just whatever, big deal. Her, with moving the hair, trying to hide the lobotomy scar on her forehead. That's what I think. That's what she kept moving her hair around. But that's just that's your interpretation. So anyway, I also didn't take notice to the fact that Rose eating the Fruit Loops and milk separate, and it indicated that she believed that whites and colored people should be separated. Yet she drunk the milk through a black straw. I will leave that up to your own imagination. Or some say that her eating the cereal means that white woman are a white man's best friend because they saw her eating the Fruit Loops in the bowl, similar to the when Rod was pouring the dog food into the dog bowl for the his for Chris's dog. Hmm. I like this symbolism too. Another thing, cause this movie had so many damn pieces to it, LOL. It was interesting that the friend worked for TSA, which in its essence is there to stop terrorist attacks against the American people. But in this movie, his friend was there to stop the terrorist attack against black people. TSA is there to stop people from coming into the airport, blending in with the passengers, and then halting the plane, aka the direction and route of the people. Hmm. I noticed that the symbolism between Rose and the keys, I see that as white women being the key to racism. Like they have the power to start it or to stop it. Like I said, they are the birthers to this. Okay? Hence why, hell, shit. Some biracial people are racist against black people. But I also talk about how even the ones who come from the white fathers are quite racist themselves. Just like, like, you know, Rose's grandfather passing his racism to his children and to his grandchildren. That shit is generational. It just doesn't stop just because that parent is not there, even though he was there, but he wasn't physically there. He wasn't able to have an influence on his children and his grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, someone else brought up how Rose was indoctrinating him earlier and how it mirrors what's going on with the black men and black boys today. Here's my explanation. When your black child is born, they reach to touch your hair. If all of their lives they see mama with long stringy hair, who do you think he's going to see himself with? Here's my other take. Black boys being abused at home, dealing with an angry mother, yet goes to school and is around a loving, caring white teacher. Every child is different, but I can guarantee that it's true in some cases. Because even here on YouTube, some of these black men, the notorious black women haters, they'll mention how they're white teachers, and just I don't know. I don't have that experience with my white teachers. None of them really liked me, just like none of the black ones either, because I guess they thought I was too smart or something. They just I keep burping. I'm so sorry. Excuse me, because I I was popular at the time. Whatever. Um, just that's just a load of crap that I mostly saw through them white teachers. That's mostly what that is, because they knew from jump that I was woke and I could see through the bullshit. I was like, you ain't gonna get in my head. You ain't gonna fuck me up. Over, up and over. So anyway, I loved seeing Erica Alexander from Living Single. She played Max in Living Single. It's been a long time since I've seen her. That was my shit back in the day. So, Andre's nose bleeding representing sweat. I mean, excuse me, blood. Walter sweating representing sweat. And Georgina crying representing tears. Think about that. The sad part about the movie is them leaving Andre behind. I mean, they knew the guy. But then again, we don't know what happens next and how Chris is going to recover from yet another traumatic experience. Because I think if he hears a teacup being clanged, I think he's going to go, see, he's going to snap back into hypnosis. Yeah. It makes me wonder, are there others out there trapped at these houses with these wicked people? Who knows? I'm glad that others mentioned how this movie was similar to The Skeleton Key, except they didn't use voodoo. Lastly, I wanted to bring up how this movie reminds black people of the urban legend of black organs being harvested on the black market. There have been deaths recently of black people having their organs removed. One notably a young boy by the name of um, Kendrick Johnson. With further research, I didn't know that a kid from Louisiana also had his organs removed. But we warned you about the people down here, so what the hell is that noise outside? I'm getting paranoid, so I'm already with this. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's a deep discussion. So yeah, I guess they cleaning up in the next yard. Cause somebody came to the door wanting to mow my dad's yard, and my dad said, "Hell no, mow it ourselves." Anyway, so yeah, whites have always done. Oh yeah, somebody's using um, a weeder on their ground. I think that's what it's called. Um, Whites have always done experimentation on black people. Look up the Tuskegee experiment, and also look up a man named James Thornwell. But in the end, I'm proud of Jordan Peele for this masterpiece and bringing originality to the big screen. And I talk about a lot. I talk about this a lot in my reviews, that the lack of originality. I still want to know why he made this film, knowing that he's married to a white woman, and that's something everybody want to know. So, but I've always liked him in Mad TV. I never really get to see that Key and Peele show. But oh yeah, I bet you guys didn't realize the guy playing Dean, Rose's dad, is played by the guy in Billy Madison. Because that was the first thing I kept looking at. I was like, he looks so damn familiar. It's like, yeah, that's him. And I went to look him up, and I was like, yep, that's the guy. But also, yes, I have to go there. I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought that the actor playing Andre was a cutie pie. Shit, Chris wasn't bad on the eyes either. Shit, I let both of them niggas smash. Hell yeah, daddy. um, moving right along. Yeah, this is my review of the film. I said I was gonna go into more detail about the whole white thing, but quite frankly, I don't feel like it because I'm trying to move past it. You know, trying to, at least I use my experience as a it's called a weed eater. um, I try to use my experience to educate other black people, especially young black people. But sometimes, they hard headed, they don't want to listen. But hey, end up like Chris. Shit, get into that situation. That's gonna be your ass. I'm not gonna get caught up. Um, let's see. Well, like, do I get uncomfortable being around a bunch? I say a hunch. Excuse me, a bunch of white people. Well, not really, because I'm like I say, I'm used to it. But I always keep my eye out on them. But if anything, just I'm just going on my personal opinion only. But I get paranoid being around a bunch of black people because of the whole brainwashing thing, and they feel like that self hatred. When they see other black people around them, especially um one that they choose to dislike on purpose, and they just feel like they gotta confront them on something. And I basically treat black people like I treat white people. Hello, thanks, bye. Because I'm not trying to deal with, because some of them will intentionally try to start trouble with me. And just like with the white people, just you gotta watch out for the blacks as well, especially in my opinion, my experience with them, because they know different than white people. Because I gotta watch out for both of them, even when I'm in a mixed scenario, I have to watch out for both of them. Because when it boils down to it, neither one of them give a two flying fucks about me. But yeah, this is my review of the movie Get Out by Jordan Peele, a psychological thriller. It wasn't really a horror because, just wasn't. Though I think the main horror behind it is just the thought that could this happen? Is it a possibility? Does this, you know, exist? Does the like I said, the controversy about the organ harvesting and stuff, and cultural appropriation, wearing black bodies, having white minds. It's just something that it's gonna have it's a conversation that people are gonna want to have to discuss. But yeah, that's what he did. Just because of the social issues that's going on in the country and the world today, and he thought it took balls for him to especially again because he's married to a white woman. He's biracial, but whatever. But it's just still, what was his why? You know. But anyway, I'm dragging this video on. It's almost 50 minutes. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video and listen. Feel free to leave a comment below. I look forward to your responses, what you think about what I've said so far, and come up with your own conclusions and theories. And of course, subscribe to my channel, like me on like Afrojuku on Facebook, and I said subscribe, whatever. Follow me on Twitter under Afrojuku. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Thank you all for watching. See ya.